psychiatrist, trying to get an idea.
Early 30s, yeah.
Our summer program age range, age average was 28, year-long program 31. This year, both in Boston and in New York, the ages are significantly higher, meaning they cluster on the higher edge of the spectrum. Right? So I don't know what it'll be in the end, but I guess we'll learn that soon enough. And you guys aren't mentors, just to make that clear, right? So the mentors serve a different role. They come from a different place. They provide a different set of values. They're there to help connect the fellow, to help think about the larger thought of why it is that they're working within the community, what motivates them, what pushes them. And in doing so, they focus in on those unstructured elements. And so I guess the question here is, so how do you manage your time, right? So if you guys aren't running after them, and if you're not, so what are we actually asking from you to do? And what do we need from you in order to make this happen? Well, even if they don't reach out to you, it's nice to send them an email every once in a while and just say, so how's it going? Any news from you, right? The deliverables are there to be shortcuts for you so that you can have a more productive meeting with them. So if you can, schedule yourself some time to read those deliverables. Ask them, if you have, you know your schedule is much better than we do. Ask the fellow to get you the deliverable on a certain day by a certain time, so you'll have an hour or two to be able to just read it through or review it. Some will take a lot less, some will take, nothing will take you more than an hour. There are things that are pretty quick to review and give you a basis and a basis for thinking about it. Give your fellows clear guidelines. So if you can only meet on Thursdays after work, make it clear to the fellow that's when you can meet, and they're going to have to make it happen, right? Try to be, of course, a little bit more flexible than just that, but if you can, make that as clear as possible. And at the most, it can take from you around an hour a week, at the most. It shouldn't take more than that, right? Every once a month you'll be sitting with them for coffee. It might take a little more than an hour just to get there and leave, but at the most you shouldn't be spending too much more time. Of course, you get really impassioned about what they're doing, you want to contribute to it, you want to give more, by all means. But don't feel that from the program's perspective, we're here to request that 1 hour a week, that small amount of time in order to support a venture. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by it, then talk to us. We'll try to help clarify and try to help make it happen in an easier way. And how do we prepare you for it? So these sessions, these times that we have to get together, they're for you. When we were kind of talking to experts in the field about how much training we should be giving and all that kind of stuff, we were suggesting that we do a monthly get-together. And I think that a monthly one is a little bit too much. You're all busy people, you all have other things that you have on your plate. So we decided to do once every 2 months, where what we're doing is we're doing both the theory, so you just understand what the fellows are going through. We're going to do it quickly. We're not going to go into it as in depth as the fellows go into it, of course. And then from that perspective of knowing what to expect, we're going to be workshopping. Today, because it's the introduction, that part of the workshopping, which would happen in the beginning, we're not going to do. So after this, I'm just going to jump straight into what the fellows are going to be experiencing and hopefully give you enough tools for this stage of coaching, which begins in about 2.5 weeks. Right? And the dates Deborah has, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so each one of these should be at the most around an hour and a half, these sessions. And that's it. So questions about the general element of coaching in the program, how it fits, what it means, what we're asking from you, anything at all.
I'm kind of curious if the fellows found you, what their motivation is to join present tense and sort of that connection.
Well, do you want to talk about these particular ones from when you know them?
So first of all, they're all just really young people with ideas that they're really passionate about at a basic level. Some of them came through the Present Tense Network. They were magazine contributors. They were involved in Present Tense for a long period of time. There's, I think, at least 2 who that's the case. But we also have a day school track where we specifically sought to identify people who are working in the day school space to innovate in day schools, as well as in economic empowerment. But in general, yeah, we did recruiting in a lot of different ways, looking for people who were just had ideas and were entrepreneurs and wanted a way to improve in that way. I don't know if there's more.
Yeah, I mean, so One of the issues in this field, particularly in kind of the Jewish nonprofit space, is that there aren't many programs for people who have ideas. There are grants that people can apply for, but those grants, like I said, so you get $5,000. So what do you do with those $5,000?
Well, that's what I was kind of wondering, are they motivated by money to be here, or they're just looking
No,
to
not at
really
all, because we don't
improve
give them any
it?
money.
There's no money.
Yeah, and so because of that, some of these people, I can give you 3 examples actually from that list. I was looking at it earlier, or 4 examples even from that list of people who got cash in the past and blew it. And you know, I mean, a good example is Dan Sarassi with Do It Yourself, right? Dan Sarassi, I think he had over $40,000 in total, kind of coming in grants in this project, and just tried different things, but didn't really have a structure and tools to figure it out. And then at some point he realized, you know what, I actually need the structure and tools more than I need the additional cash, right? And that's the same with a bunch of these folks. But what they're realizing that fundamental basis is not there. And that's the case a lot more in the social enterprise space than it is in the for-profit field. Why? Because when you're working on developing a new web service or a new type of restaurant or a new type of what have you, there's a finite product that at the end you're more or less trying to get to, right? When it comes to social enterprise, it's very hard to know whether you're having that impact, whether you're actually running it. And the people who are involved in social enterprise, especially in the Jewish community, come at this from a perspective of passion more than a perspective of a discipline. And so a lot of these people, have that passion, have that desire to change, have the desire to create new structures, but don't have the tools to be able to make it happen. And so that's kind of what brings them to our programs around the world. I mean, we have 6 programs now going, right? So we just inducted a little more than 60 fellows. A little more, I'm saying, because every place that I go, I was in Philly, and then I was in Boston, and now New York, and Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem, and every one of those places were supposed to only take 12, but New York took 15, Boston took 13, they might take another one, and so everyone's like taking a little more than we thought. But the point is that they all applied because they were looking for that kind of that extra practical.
And also people who know past fellows who got a lot out of the experience. And we work as a network that we really spread.
That's great.
Entirely that way.
Other questions about the coaching process, what it is, and yeah.
I just have from a practical perspective,
Yeah.
to take like a 4-week kind of a period, right?
Absolutely.
So if you could just go through like, week 1, week 2, week 3, and then like when you would ideally see us talking with them, because let's say a deliverable is due on the last day of week 4, hypothetically speaking. So then would you say that we should meet with them like the 3rd week, just from how we see it?
So I just want to talk a second about the deliverable before I go into that. So deliverables, because we're so used to being in academic kind of environments, when we think about deliverables being due at a certain point, it's kind of like a homework assignment. So you need to make it be really, really good, and then you hand it in. In present tense, deliverables are that opportunity to practice. So we actually ask them to hand it in before they talk to you, right? Before you guys work with it. Because the whole point is for them to get out their assumptions, to try the best they can, and then to be able to work on it and refine it. And that's a very important thing also when it comes to the experiential education that we're providing them, which is to not always strive for the A, which is what we're used to, right? We're used to trying to package things in a way that we get the approval of the teacher, but this isn't about approval of the teacher. This is about, being comfortable with the adaptability that's necessary to be an entrepreneur, being comfortable with the constant ability to change, right? So culture-wise, it's just important to state, deliverables are about works in progress, right? So the way that it works is that on January 10th, the fellows start their first seminar, which is on visioning, which I'm going to introduce to you guys in a second so you have a better understanding of what it means, right? At the end of that seminar, we present to them a deliverable, and they have 2 weeks to be able to work on that. On January 24th, they're going to send that deliverable to you. And then in that week, between January 24th and January 31st, I think January's 31 days, right? They're gonna have the opportunity to meet you guys for coffee. So you can already basically, when we're introducing you, say, all right, so let's schedule times that are good for us in that last week. Over the course of that 4-week period, what that means is that they're getting that workshop, they get the deliverable, start working on their deliverables. If possible, they'll be meeting with their other fellows and clustering around it so they have some stuff done before they get to you. They'll be emailing you that deliverable. You'll be meeting with them for coffee. They're going to have a case study, someone who's, you know, that successful entrepreneur that's done it themselves, so they get to meet and hear from them. And then by the end of it, they go back into the cycle, another workshop, another work on the deliverable, and so on and so on and so forth.
So like the 3 week, you know, the third week, that sort of area, you know, in terms of conceptualizing, you know.
Yes, and so in terms of your time, what I would expect is that in the first 2 weeks, you'd be getting, you know, a random email or a question or what have you. And if you're someone that likes to see, you know, stuff as it's progressing, you can tell your fellow. You can say, listen, if you have any questions as you're working on it, just, you know, shoot me an email and keep me up to date. So those first 2 weeks are more kind of, you know, mobile communication. That third week, hopefully you're having coffee with them. Maybe they're, you know, contacting you in the fourth week, and then it goes back into that cycle. It's actually a very good question. You probably put that into you should think about how to conceptualize that in the presentation. Yeah. Other questions about, you know, the coaching process? I can tell you that when we do a lot of surveying, assessment is important for us on 2 levels. One, because it's important for us to learn to make the program better. And 2, it's important for us because that's also part of the kind of provision of service, right? The impact that we're making in the world. We've seen consistently that coaching is the most impactful thing on the fellows. So I stress the fact that you guys are crucial to the success of this. I'm saying that because for the past 4 years, we've learned that coaching is crucial to the success of a fellow in this venture. Having that one person believe in the fellow, give them the confidence that they can try and fail, and that's okay, and they can keep on, you know, trying again, is a really important thing. Is ready to go to the next to introduce inspiration, the first segment, or any other logistical issues or program issues that you guys want to talk about first?
How do we get assigned?
That was my question. Yeah.
So you all should have completed your intake survey, which thank you for all filling it out, hopefully. And we will basically be matching what you hope to see in your coaching and your areas of interest with the fellows you have before you. If you see anyone on the list or meet anyone on Monday who you feel particularly passionate about, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm happy to see if we can coordinate that. If you want to speak with me individually about any particular needs you have or any particular things we should keep in mind, I'd be happy to. And then we'll basically be making a match and proposing which fellow we would like to see you work with. If you have any questions, it's an interactive process, so feel free to be in touch. But yeah, if you haven't filled out the survey, you definitely should, just so we have a sense of your needs in the process.
Are there more coaches than are here right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Each fellow has a coach.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people who said they were coming, I guess, we have to cancel at some point, or are going to tell us later that they're sorry. Yeah, but we're recording this, and also the presentation is online, and these forms, I'll show you in a second, like a little sheet, so hopefully everyone in the coaches is going to have the resources they need to be able to help their fellows along. Yeah, one of the things that we're trying to do over the course of this year in general is to record as much of this as possible, so that, you know, at any point you need reference, you want to go back to something, it will always be there. You can't make it, you know, next month or whatever, you'll have those resources. And by the way, if you guys see something that you suggest could be changed, fixed, you know, upgraded, etc., please tell us at any given moment. We're a learning organization, and we take that seriously because, you know, we're constantly trying to improve the program. So if you guys see, you know, an element that could be better, that you think you have suggestions for, don't be shy. We'd love to hear it. All right, so I'm going to jump to the next part, and then we're going to be finished here by 7:30, so I'm going to go through it a little bit faster than I was anticipating. It's going to be cool. So the reason that we do these kind of sessions is just so you'll know what the fellows are going through, and you'll have the same terms to work with them. The reason that you might not have the same terms is that we use a narrative approach to our work.